So you're standing in the garage staring at a pile of metal, a spool gun in one hand and a credit card in the other, and you keep asking yourself, what if this thing looks great on paper but feels like a boat anchor once it's out of the box? I get it, most MIG welders look the same on Amazon until you actually try to move them across the shop floor or plug them into the outlet you already have. The Millermatic 252 is one of those units that promises plug-and-play portability, but does it deliver when you're 3 jobs in and the ground clamp is still fighting you? Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. The first thing that jumps out is the wheeled cart. A lot of welders ship with a flimsy dolly that collapses the first time you roll it over a crack in the driveway. Miller went with a heavier duty frame and a single handle that actually lets one person pivot the whole rig without doing a deadlift. If you're moving between 2 or 3 workstations in a small fabrication shop, that cart is worth the price of admission alone. The downside? It's still a 300 amp machine, so the whole assembly weighs north of 300 pounds. You're not carrying this up a flight of stairs, you're rolling it from bay to bay. Power-wise, the 252 is designed around a 208/230V single-phase input. That's the sweet spot for most home garages and small job sites, but it also means you can't just plug it into any random outlet you find. If your shop already has a 220V circuit with a NEMA 6-50 or 14-50 receptacle, you're golden. If not, budget another couple hundred for an electrician to pull a dedicated line. The manual is pretty clear about minimum wire gauge and breaker size, so don't skip that step. Tripping a 30A breaker because you used 12-gauge Romex is the kind of frustration that makes you regret the purchase before the first weld cools. On the usability front, the front panel layout is straightforward once you get past the initial which knob does what moment. The digital meter is actually useful for dialing in voltage and wire feed speed without second guessing. That matters when you're running 0.035-inch wire on a 1/4-inch steel and you need to tweak the heat without stopping production. The spool gun connection is on the side, so you're not wrestling with a tangled lead every time you switch from solid wire to aluminum. The only real niggle is the plastic trim around the meter. It feels like it'll crack if you look at it wrong, so keep the shop rags away from that corner. Portability is where this welder earns its keep. The handle is positioned so you can tilt the whole unit backward and roll it like a wheelbarrow. That's a game changer if you're loading it into a pickup bed or squeezing it through a narrow doorway. Just remember the gas cylinder bracket is bolted to the side of the cart. If you're used to a top mount bracket, you'll need to rethink your cylinder strap game. Who should buy this? If you're a DIYer with a 220V circuit and a 2-car garage, the Millermatic 252 is overkill unless you're welding thicker material or running long production runs. Save your money and look at the 180 or 211 models instead. If you're a small fabrication shop, a mobile repair tech, or a hobbyist who keeps moving projects between locations, the cart, the single-handle design, and the reliable Miller arc make this a solid investment. If you're still on 110V or you're welding exclusively outdoors where extension cords are a nightmare, skip it. This isn't the welder for you. The biggest hidden trade-off is consumables cost. Miller's consumables are excellent, but they're also proprietary. You'll pay a premium for contact tips and liners compared to generic aftermarket parts. Over a year of heavy use, that adds up, so factor it into your budget. Bottom line, the Millermatic 252 isn't the flashiest welder on the market, but it's the one that actually makes sense once it's out of the box and on the shop floor. If you need a wheeled, single-phase MIG that won't fight you every time you move it, this is the machine to get. Check the link in the description if you want to see the latest price and specs before you pull the trigger.